The date is July 19th, 2021. You are watching on YouTube the brand new worldwide trailer for Ubisoft's next original game, XDefiant. Being developed by Ubisoft and Ubisoft San Francisco, XDefiant was a first-person shooter game that was promising gamers to be able to have that old-school feel from old Call of Duties like Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and games that we remember from playing in our childhood, but this time in the new modern era of gaming. With XDefiant promising gamers unique abilities for certain characters and classes with 4 distinct variables of groups they will be able to be used, first-person mechanics that we all know and love with new mechanics and features from the future of gaming that we're all used to dealing with today. It was the gamer's dream with the current state of gaming, especially FPS games, not being exactly what they wanted. You had to go from the years of where Modern Warfare, the original, into the sequel of Modern Warfare 2, which was extremely disliked by the community, is finally getting their resolve because Ubisoft is going to be the savior for arcade FPS games by introducing us to XDefiant, which had so many guns from our childhood in our classic Call of Duty games that we all knew and loved, which made XDefiant even more hyped to play. And gamers were anticipating the release of XDefiant from the minute this trailer ended up dropping. Fast forward to April 13th, 2023, a year and a half later, and fans are finally getting their first hands-on experience with XDefiant as Ubisoft announced a first closed beta that happened from April 13th to April 23rd of last year. And now in this closed beta, we got to experience everything hands-on that XDefiant had to offer at this time, where many popular YouTubers, streamers alike were playing the game and showing their admiration and love for the game like no other game that we had seen as of late in the first-person shooter genre. With the incredible success of the playtest from XDefiant then went on to have a couple more playtests and server tests, but this is kind of where things got a little bit more dicey when it came to XDefiant for a number of reasons, of which at certain moments hindered the game and even made fans of the game think that maybe it wasn't going to come out at all. On August 23rd, 2023, the main developer released the very first update on XDefiant that we would see. Now, if you want to read all of it, go on back and rewind the video and you'll be able to read it. Now, mind you, for those of you who might not have been tracking XDefiant when it first came out and got its notoriety, they were anticipating an early summer release of 2023. By the time August came around, that was already late summer, which already gave fans some big red flags, but those red flags would not stop coming. September 20th, 2023, more bad news struck as yet again another update came out for XDefiant, delaying the game back even more, which now at this point gamers knew that there was no longer going to be hope for a summer release and that we were hoping for a mid to late fall release, which yet again, you're probably going to find a pattern here that we are going to get another update, which that one came along the time in October 9th, 2023, we seen our third update on the game where they had a short play test to try and test out the servers, which recently in 2024 we had, but yet again it was just further proving that XDefiant was a long way from coming back to us and being in a state where the devs felt comfortable with it, although gamers had been yearning for this game for months at this point, and it started to get into the gray area where XDefiant was losing its release window. So we gotta have some context here, because I previously said the release window. Now what I meant by that when it came to XDefiant's release window is a lot of players were hyped for this game for one of the sole premises that the recent game that came out for one of, or big two I guess you should say, FPS franchises was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the newest one in the Modern Warfare series that we saw from the sequel of 2019. Now I never personally played Modern Warfare 2, the newest one, because I was already checked out with the Call of Duty franchise, but what I did see was constant hate and disappointment from the fan base to Infinity Ward, who were the lead developers for this game, because Modern Warfare 2 did not give fans what they wanted for their Call of Duty game. And with Infinity Ward especially, as we as fans know that Infinity Ward is very hard-headed. They are not going to sit there and they are not going to listen to the fan feedback, because if they have a plan for a game, that's their plan, and they are not going to move from it unless it's begrudgingly so, which is kind of what we saw later in the lifespan of the game, but it was not what players wanted whatsoever, which is why XDefiant really was scratching that itch for the arcade FPS feel. But you ran into the issue of the current game for the Call of Duty series that was coming out later that next month, when we got the update from Mark when it was in October 9th of 2023. November 10th of 2023 would pretty much put an end to fans expecting XDefiant coming out in the fall or probably the end of the year for 2023, because that is when Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 would come out, and that was devved by Sledgehammer, who in my eyes is one of the better developers in the Call of Duty series right now. Treyarch probably being the top, Sledgehammer being number 1, and then Infinity Ward as of past years being 3 and the worst. This gets us more up to date on why they needed to release the game soon, but we are far from over with the updates. Let us not forget that XDefiant was on a tight window. Remember, November 10th, 2023, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 was going to release, so if they wanted to try and capitalize on their hype and still salvage this release in the year of 2023, they were going to need to do something quick. But like you were probably expecting, that is not what happened, and honestly, the exact opposite happened, which left many gamers very upset about it. November 1st, 2023, the dreaded news hit yet again, as now the 4th update for XDefiant hit, and Mark started off right away by letting fans know that he was not going to be able to give a date, and this was just disastrous, as the hype for XDefiant had already started to cool off, and now 9 days after this update, Modern Warfare 3 was going to release, and Modern Warfare 3 was going to be a breath of fresh air for many fans in this series, as Sledgehammer was one of the developers that actually listened to fan critique and fan feedback, so the game was going to be received much better compared to the game like last year as Modern Warfare 2, which now leaves us into a very tricky place with XDefiant, because they initially wanted a May to June release for this game, and now we are already in November, months removed from it, and the game is nowhere to be in sight. You're going to fast forward a little less than a month to December 5th of 2023, and you're going to get the 5th update regarding XDefiant, where Mark is just reiterating yet again that the crew and team are working diligently on the things that they mentioned in prior updates, which were focusing on the party system, the quick play, and the quick join system, alongside their netcode, as players in previous playtests and systems were complaining about how the guns in the game were feeling on certain connections. But yet again, this now confirmed we were not going to get the game in 2023, which left people very sad that they were not going to get XDefiant as a Christmas present from Ubisoft. But alas, we kept hoping that the game would come out month by month, which is when on January 2nd of 2024, we would get our 6th update from Mark, and this time he was explaining more of the same, which at certain points on social media, people were contentious about this. They were grateful for the transparency that was being shown by Mark and the team, but also it was frustrating because there was a lot of radio silence in between, and it really just left fans in the dark because they still were clamoring for this game that they so desperately wanted to play and get their hands on. Fast forward to March 23rd, 2024, and we are going to get the 7th update from Mark. And now this will be before we get our latest playtest that happened on April 19th to April 21st of 2024, where this current gameplay is from. And honestly, after being able to play the game and seeing the changes that they've made, I have to say a couple things. The gameplay, at least for me, did not feel very different in terms of red gun. When I was using the red guns, it very much so still felt the same on either I was either melting people or I was hitting bullet sponges, whereas the sniping felt tremendous as per usual. And there was only just a couple of other small things that I've noticed in the meta changes that people were using and playing with. Now, this isn't to say that I feel like the work that they have done over the last few months has gone unnoticed or was outright not needed, but I do have to say, from a gaming standpoint, I don't really understand what they changed. Maybe I wasn't one of those people that was dealing with the issues that they were saying that, they were trying to work on. However, I do just think that perhaps maybe XDefiant missed a peak window for them to, release this game. Although it is Ubisoft original, I don't know maybe what it was that we were trying to give extra hope for this game, because it is that arcade FPS that we all have been really wanting to play for quite some time, and it was being backed by a company that actually had the funding and the means to, deliver a decent game. Although we all know Ubisoft is very hit or miss from time to time, which I'm not going to sit there and make excuses for them. We all know how Ubisoft is. With that being said, I do still have hope for XDefiant. I still think XDefiant can be a successful game and can be very popular in the FPS genre when it inevitably does get its final release. Still right now, as of recording and writing this video, as I'm finishing it up on April 25th, there is still no news from Mark following this playtest. While it's only been a few days removed, and that's completely fair and reasonable, I'm really hoping that we don't have to go another 3, 4, 5, 6 months without seeing this game in some form of playable fashion, just because this game has been teased and talked about for almost 3 years now, and it's, in my opinion, in a state to where you could be able to ship it. Now, I'm not a game dev, I'm not someone who works in this field, I'm just a YouTuber who sits here and makes videos talking into a microphone, but I really do hope XDefiant can kind of shake their growing pains and be a successful game, because I know we all want to see it be successful, which means that this video is pretty much done. Let me know what you thought, leave a like, leave a comment, I'll talk to you all in the next one. It's been your boy Zanezy, and we will see you next time.